All right, we just wrapped up another episode of the Go With John show, and we had Lee Gigliotti and Cheryl Freeman here talking about Trashaway and Cleanaway, and we got some very interesting perspectives from Cheryl on managing a large company with lots of employees during COVID, and then she also manages a small team with her mortgage brokerage business as well. So I hope you enjoy this episode as much as we enjoyed speaking with Lee and Cheryl. Welcome to another episode of the Go With John show. We're here today. We call this the Long and Foster Studios in McLean, Virginia, because they're kind enough to let us use this space for our recording. Today we have with us Lee Gigliotti and Cheryl Freeman with Trashaway. Cheryl is also a lender with U.S. Bank, and she actually is one of the preferred lenders over at Stanley Martin Custom Homes. So if you're listening and you're part of the Stanley Martin family and you're interested on how a construction loan works, you can reach out to Cheryl. So welcome, Lee and Cheryl.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, John.
Yep.
Delighted to be here.
Thank you, Cheryl. And Lee. So Lee, can you tell us how did Trashaway get started? How did you start the company? What got you there?
Well, the company was the brainchild of the first owner.
Okay.
Who actually is now deceased. She's passed away, and she had a good eye for business. Mm-hmm. She was very personable. Mm-hmm. She attended everything that came along quickly and correctly.
And that's what it takes to start a business, right? That's one of the fundamental requirements.
Now the company has grown quite a bit more.
Yeah.
Cheryl is one of the senior officers in the business.
Great.
And she does a lot of, she comes with a whole lot of previous experience.
Exactly.
So there's no teaching time needed.
Sure. So how did you get involved? How did you transition from the original owner to you taking over?
I had my first profession was nursing.
Right.
And that's how I met the owner.
Right.
She she's deceased now, but she had a very serious medical condition that needed attention.
Right.
And I understood the program.
Right.
So that's how I got connected.
Okay. So you basically took over for her while you were taking care of her.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So Cheryl, can you tell us, so what is Trashaway? What does Trashaway do?
Trashaway is a trash and recycling company. We service homeowners associations, which are communities of single-family homes, townhomes, condos. We do bulk pickups. We do specialties upon request. And it's been around 25 years, 26 years. And the cleaning company, which was the original company, started in 1969.
Wow.
And Lee joined the cleaning company with the owner, Loretta.
Right.
And from there, Trashaway grew as an offshoot of the cleaning company.
Right.
They sold the cleaning company about 12 years ago.
Right.
And have been specifically in the trash recycling business since then.
Great. So now, who are your customers?
Our customers are basically property managers.
Okay.
Of all the associations. Sometimes it might be the president of a board because they don't have a property manager.
Okay.
But it's always either a board-directed or It's either board-directed or property management.
Okay. Good.
Now, that being said, we definitely deal with the individuals. You're going to still deal with the residents because we have found, particularly in the last couple of years with COVID, everybody has a cell phone with a camera and a video.
Yeah.
They're at home at their window waiting for the trash to come. And
Right.
I have an overwhelming amount of pictures of trash from homeowners, which has been very interesting.
Do they ever send you pictures or videos of your guys picking up the trash and actually doing their job?
Yes, we actually do. We quite frequently get the compliments. However, it's always the ones that are upset
Right.
that you come to the forefront
Yep,
any
yep.
other business.
Yep.
But it's fascinating to me how people can get. I never realized until I got in the industry how involved the average homeowner can be in trash bin recycling pickup.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
well,
it's
I'll tell
great.
you what, from personal experience, it can be quite frustrating. I think when I was in my previous house, and I'm not going to mention where it was because I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus. I'm always very careful not to call out anybody when they have struggles. But I had one trash company that was supposed to pick up my trash, and they would only come maybe once every other week, and it was really annoying. So then I was going to switch over to this other trash company, but I didn't cancel the first one right away. So I hired this second one. So the second trash company was just as inconsistent as the first. So I was paying for 2 trash pickups, and I was lucky to get trash pickup once a week. And this was about, I don't know, a year ago or so. And I guess things really were, there was difficulty getting workers and labor shortages, and there still is, right? So
it's even more so now than it was a year ago.
Right.
Plus what people don't understand, and we've been in the whole COVID for a while, that nobody wants to hear it, but the back orders of getting containers and parts and trucks is like doubled in the time over the last just 6 months.
Yeah.
And I think you'll see an increase.
So you're having supply chain challenges.
Absolutely.
So have you ever seen anything like that before, Lee, where we have supply chain challenges like this?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think I
so.
have. Yeah. So how do you see this playing out, Cheryl? Do you see it loosening up now? So we're today we're in June of 2021, right? What do you see from a supply chain perspective on just the parts for your containers and things? And are you having trouble getting vehicle parts?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, we just purchased 3 vehicles because I was told it will be a minimum of 12 months to get a vehicle if you order it custom, and then you have another 4 to 5 months to get the vehicle ready to put on the road.
Right, because you got to upfit the vehicle.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
Yep.
So the issue is not just getting the vehicle, but there could be one part that's on back order.
Yeah.
So
it's like building a house.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're missing a window.
Absolutely, absolutely. So therefore, because of supply and demand, we're watching cost increase, just like you're seeing in building.
Yep.
And I think it's going to continue for a while. Not that it won't transition, but it's going to be a tough 12 months as people gear back up.
Right. Do you see anything loosening up right now, or do you just feel like we're still in the thick of it?
I see guidelines and policies loosening up, but it's going to take time to catch up.
Right.
From all the halt in business that we've experienced over the last 18 months.
Yeah. It's really interesting because really the whole shutdown happened, March of 20, right?
20, yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
March of 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
And really for a period of time, everything, I think from a business perspective, was certainly stressful and difficult. I don't want to say it was easy, but we were transitioning to a remote world. And then now here we are a year later, and we're opening up and we're all ready to go back to work. And now there's been some serious latency in the impact of the shutdown because everybody had parts on the shelf that they were able to ship out, but they weren't replacing their warehouse inventory.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
now we've just got to work through that. So do you see the price increases as a temporary thing? And I know that's an impossible question to answer, right? So. But what's your feeling on? Do you feel like we're going to have some inflation and then it's going to come back down, or do you think this pricing pressure is kind of here to stay?
That's a great question. So much of that depends on policy, political policies. Mm-hmm. If we continue, there would be a time to catch up. But short term, I definitely see inflation, and I definitely see a real challenge in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
As far as the future, unfortunately, they're not going to call me and ask me about the new political strategies that are going to be put in place. Yes.
Right.
So,
well, Yogi
we'll
Berra
see.
always said it's always difficult to make predictions, especially when you're talking about the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. In the mortgage industry, I always tell them I'm looking at my crystal ball to give them my best advice.
Yeah.
So, and I see it on both sides. It's been very interesting being in a position where I'm on the front line of an emergency business,
Right.
where everybody shows up at the office, to an industry where it went remote almost immediately.
Yeah.
So it's watching the contrast of the two and how business is being done has been really an education.
Yeah. So in Trashaway, you had to come to work, right?
Absolutely.
You certainly can't pick up trash remotely, not yet.
No, you can't. And unfortunately, you can't manage people when you have 80 people from home.
Right.
You really have to show up.
Right. So did you guys have any COVID outbreaks in your facility?
We did, but knock on wood, we were really very, very fortunate.
Right.
We got lucky with the timing that the people who did get infected were not, by and large, around a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we were able to limit it.
Good.
So we've been very, very fortunate.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's great. So we've got Lee and Cheryl with us here from Trashaway. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back to talk more about what it is to run a service business. And I want to hear more about your perspective, Cheryl, on what it was like remote versus in person. So we'll be right back. I'm John Jorgensen, and if you want to learn more about buying a home or selling your existing home, contact us through the show. We work with an incredible network of professionals who can help you get through the process smoothly. Again, that's gowithjohn.com. Welcome back. We're here with Lee Gigliotti and Cheryl Freeman with Trashaway and Cleanaway. And of course, your websites are trashaway.com and cleanaway.com if anybody wants to get online and take a look. And Cheryl is also a mortgage lender with U.S. Bank. She does construction loans, refis, new home purchases, all that stuff. And we're going to get together another day and talk about construction financing, because that's always a fun topic. So Lee and Cheryl, want to tell us a little bit about the origins of Trashaway again. Let's kind of go back and revisit that for a second. Cheryl, I'll let you kind of chat with Lee a little bit about how you guys got, or how Lee got involved, and then how we got to where we are today.
Yeah. Loretta started the cleaning company and was having a very successful business when the two of you met. And she was out in the field running the business and really needed help in the office, because it's a challenge to be both places at one time.
Right.
And since you were on the board at the Cancer Institute and a scientific nurse, and you also hold a business degree from the School of Wharton, it was a natural fit that you would come in and help her with the office and use your expertise. You were ready to make a transition at that time from nursing. Is that correct?
Yes.
So could you say a little bit about that time when you joined and what the business was like?
Well, the business was actually the grandchild, the godchild of Loretto. She had that kind of skill. She was extremely business-oriented and prompt and correct. And she, unfortunately, she had a medical condition which led to her demise. And then it more or less fell more onto me. But now it's more onto you.
Yeah, but let's talk about back then, because back then Loretta was still healthy, and she was able to do the job, and you were working in the office. So it was a nice blend between the two of you running the business and growing the cleaning business. Is that correct? So could you tell us a little bit about that, Tom? How the business ran?
We had mostly female employees, especially in the cleaning areas, and they were recruited, and usually from within. You know, someone knew, or someone wanted to know, or some property managers became more aware of the differences in the services, and they became interested as well. So
yeah, that's interesting, because Trashaway is still a referral-based business primarily. Is how we get our contracts and how we get our people.
Yes.
So it hasn't changed since 1969. Very interesting.
It was a good start, and it's still running.
Absolutely. So since you were in the cleaning industry, I know Loretta was the one who wanted to branch out into the trash simply because it was such a symbiotic relationship. since we do mostly homeowners associations, and property managers are always looking at the maintenance of their compactors or their equipment, the cleanliness of the trash rooms and recycling and how things are done, it was a natural fit to be able to have both sides of the business so that they could work in tandem and make it a smooth transition all the way around for everyone.
Yeah.
A lot less headaches.
Yes.
Did you find in the beginning, how was that as you started the trash company?
Well, we started the trash company because there were lots of properties where they didn't have space to store the throwouts that the residents were giving. Well, we can pick that up, and we make it on a regular basis. Sometimes it's daily.
So
Most of the
basically,
time.
bulk trash up and specialty pickups is where you started the company. So you didn't really start picking up the trash. You started as a specialty company, picking up bulk special items that are necessary. Okay. And how did it evolve? Just because of the demand?
And the service, the
service
quality
and
of the
quality
service,
of
and we became. You probably know very well, in the mortgage business, the property managers have a lot of say in what goes on in the program, and what goes on, who does it better, what are the issues. So that's we've got a good connection with that group too.
Yes, that is definitely from being on both sides of the business. Both businesses are hugely a referral business, and there are key people that network and make the businesses as far as referrals go. I think that is true of both industries. Yes, particularly if you're dealing with homeowners associations versus an individual subscription. Definitely makes a difference. It's a network. And definitely quality and referrals count tremendously.
As does the upkeep of your equipment. You know, the cleanliness of your equipment is something that the residents see because they set out their trash on certain days.
Absolutely.
Most of them want to see it.
Yes, yes. No, I know Trashaway strives hard to keep their equipment always ready and clean and updated.
Yeah, and
we take pride in what it looks like on the road. Yes,
and the outfits for the drivers and helpers are, they're expected to be clean and presentable.
So that's great. So you guys hit on some really amazing things there. And, one, Lee, you just mentioned the uniforms. I think if you're in the service industry, the uniforms are everything. I remember when I had my water damage company, we always had a strict uniform policy, and we would get lots and lots of compliments from our customers that our technicians looked very professional when they showed up. We had to wear black boots and tan pants, and we had a company shirt, khaki work pants and a company shirt, and you had to wear a belt and all those little details and a hat. So I don't know if people really wear a lot of hats anymore. But the other thing that really caught my attention when you guys were chatting is if you have a company and you're providing great service, you will have more business than you can handle. It's an amazing thing in Northern Virginia. I don't think that works really everywhere on the planet. But in Northern Virginia, there is a vacuum of that's the wrong word. I would say in Northern Virginia, there are very few companies that really provide a great service, great value, and do it well all the time. And if you do that, you will get referral business, and then you don't need to spend a lot of money on marketing. So it was interesting to hear you guys chat about some of those details. Really caught my attention as lessons that I learned when I was a young business owner and employed myself. So it's the same rules. If you follow the rules, you have to know what the rules are, and then you have to be able to have the discipline to implement.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I couldn't agree more with that statement, John.
Yep. And it's all, Jeff Detweiler says it's all about the execution. We all know how to do it. but the execution is the key.
Well, I would tag on to that because I'm constantly telling our people it takes a lot of work to get to good, but it only takes 1 or 2 more steps to be excellent.
Yes.
It's that one more phone call, that one more follow-up that separates you from good to excellent.
Yeah.
And we're not stopping at good.
Right.
We're looking for excellent, not perfection, but that one more step.
Right.
You know, we're the only trash company that I'm aware of that works 7 days a week.
Wow.
We have 4 holidays.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're on the road every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. You have 2 less holidays than I have. We have 6.
Well, the 4th one's optional, depends upon if the facilities are closed or not.
So what are your 4 holidays?
Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, and sometimes the 4th of July,
There we
depending
go.
upon if the disposal facilities are closed or not.
Right.
We rotate around that because that's another issue.
Yeah.
Particularly with COVID, they're not open like they had been
Right.
previously.
So now
Everybody
you
had
get more
staggered
holidays.
hours. Not really. They're still open, just staggered hours. It makes it more challenging because you have less time to get there.
Yeah.
It's not like they close totally.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to chat about some lessons learned and how to run a business, and maybe Cheryl and Lee can share a couple of tips and tricks with us that they've learned along the way. We'll be right back.
Okay.
A lot of folks think that building a custom home is a complicated and arduous process. It doesn't have to be. At Stanley Martin Custom Homes, we have the process down to a science. We will bring you through the buying, design, and building phase one step at a time. Head on over to webuildonyourlot.com and check us out. Reach out to us if you want to get started on the path to your very own Stanley Martin Custom Home. All right, we are back with Lee and Cheryl with Trashaway and Cleanaway, and Cheryl is also with U.S. Bank. So during the break, I was asking if we had any lessons learned, and Cheryl, you had some thoughts on lessons learned during COVID with the contrast between the 2 businesses that you operate.
Absolutely. What has come to the forefront for me in the last couple of years, actually I've been doing this for 3 years, but when you're running a mortgage team, you're going to have 3 to 5 people max, and you're going to close a couple of $100 million, and that's your team.
Right.
When you're running a trash company or a service company, we have as many 75, 80 employees.
Right.
And you look into management, and I have been surprised to see the difference in being a boss and being a leader.
Right.
Getting a title and think you're going to tell people what to do versus getting people to be part of a team.
Right.
Getting people to rally around you to see the vision, to move forward, to become something different. Mm-hmm. Not to do the same old, or not even just to take instructions.
Right.
And you don't make leaders. Leaders make themselves.
Right.
You hire people in a position of management, and some people come in and follow the chain of command, and other people come in and take leadership. Mm-hmm. They just automatically do it. People become behind them. They respect them. They move forward. Mm-hmm. Where just because you have a title doesn't mean you're going to be respected or have authority.
Right.
You actually earn it.
Yeah.
And that has been so clear to me.
Right. So how many managers do you have for your 80? So how many people do you work with so who's on the front line with you at Trashaway? How many people?
We have, it rotates because the largest group we have are helpers on the trucks.
Right.
And that is an entry-level job.
Right.
So you're going to have more turnover in that position, especially these days when people are getting a check from the government. Right. And you're competing with stay home and make money versus coming to work. And I'm telling you, I have a whole new respect for the trash industry and the cleaning industry as I've gotten into it and seen the nuances and how hard these people work. It is by far, I sit down and I'm the one who does the interviews at the moment, which that will be changing with operations.
Right.
However, as I sit down with these young men, mostly for helpers, we do have 3 women drivers, getting a 4th one.
Right.
But the helpers are all men, and I speak with them from all kinds of backgrounds: construction, landscaping, weightlifting, moving, and by far they all tell me the trash industry's harder. because you're on your feet all day long. You're constantly lifting. Not everything is solid. A lot of these containers that they pick up, or the bags they pick up, are like a sack of potatoes. And you're dealing with glass. You're dealing with all kinds of things that people throw in that they're not supposed to.
Right.
And you don't know until you start putting it in the truck.
Right.
So it also can have its share of hazard.
Yeah.
And these guys really, really work hard.
But especially during COVID, especially on the early days of
Yes,
COVID, when
absolutely.
we didn't know if there was COVID all over everything.
Yes, absolutely. And we were so fortunate. They showed up, they came to work, nobody grumbled. Of the 80 people, I had one that chose to stay home. Everybody else came to work.
Yep.
And also, the other thing, the flip side people don't understand is trash and recycling's up at least 33% due to COVID.
Right.
Because there are more people at home.
And they're ordering everything through the mail, and you've got
Absolutely.
boxes, and
Yes.
you've got just packaging trash.
Yes. Most trash rooms did not accommodate Amazon,
Yeah.
and all the special deliveries
Yeah.
that we currently have. In fact, we have clients that we service 7 days a week, twice a day.
Yeah.
Because their trash rooms were not built to accommodate the level of trash and recycling we have today.
Amazing. So how many, so I was trying to get,
Sorry.
So no, that's okay. That was all good information. And I think you answered my question, but you're really on the front line with everybody right now.
I'm definitely on the front line with everybody.
That's spreading you
because
pretty thin.
The only way I know what's going on with the entire company and to know which direction to go and how to really be a leader
Yeah.
is to know what's going on in every department
Yeah.
and put the right people in the right department to run that department.
Yep.
People
Now, have
that
you gone undercover boss and actually put on the jumpsuit and gone out and picked up trash?
I have not picked up trash, but I have definitely done my share of being on the lot and following trucks and
Yeah.
being involved with the guys. And I have been very, very involved. Not that I think, as you said, you're spread thinly, you can't be everywhere.
Right.
But I can't imagine never going to the lot. We start early, 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine not ever showing up and paying attention, because if you don't, you never see your people.
Right.
And it's not just the job, it's who are they? How are they
Right.
representing you? How are they interacting with each other?
Yeah.
It's so much more to the job than just getting on a truck and picking up trash.
Yeah,
But
no
that's true
kidding.
with everything.
It is. It's really amazing when you start getting into the details of anything. It's always much more complicated than you think.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter what it is. Changing a light bulb.
Yes. And also communication. As I said, in the mortgage industry, you're looking at 3 people on a team to 5 people, generally on a mortgage team, just like
Right.
real estate.
Yeah.
However,
And you work closely with them every day, and you're all pretty
Absolutely.
close,
Yes.
and you trust each other, you have each other's back,
Yes.
and you're all fighting the same battle in a good way. I say battle,
Absolutely.
but you've got a lot of tasks coming at you,
Yes.
rapid fire, and you got to execute well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And when you have 75, 80 people, you cannot have that relationship.
Right.
It's a different level of leadership and a different level of getting their respect and getting to know them. And I do feel it's my job, it's our job as managers to get to know the people. It's not just okay to hire and put them on a truck, and that's that.
So, is there a lesson learned in there? I know there's a reality that you've become aware of, right? The different.
Absolutely.
But is there a lesson that you would share with
Yes.
other business owners?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Be direct, be honest, transparent from the very, very beginning. Be consistent, and keep the same message.
Yep.
And I have found, we have an incredible diverse group on the lot. And when we show up in the morning, from all different nationalities. And I didn't realize until I got into it, even when you start talking about race and all the things that go along with that whole can of worms, how much it is within the own ethnicity
Right.
of judgment.
Right.
From country to country, from
Right.
area to area.
Right.
So dealing with all of that, in some ways it's been a gift that I haven't had the knowledge, because to me, they're people.
Yeah.
And everybody deserves to be treated fairly.
Right.
So to be adamant about respect and, again, it's an entry-level job, and we probably have 40 to 45 helpers on the lot. So to make it clear where you stand and what you believe in and where you're going is incredibly important.
It boils down to the 3 fundamental words of having success in business. You got to be fair to be a leader, right? You got
Yes.
to be fair, you got to be firm, and you got to be consistent.
Absolutely.
And
you have to track
transparent.
it. And you have to track it.
Yeah.
You have to have accountability, and you have to be able to track it when you sit down and talk to somebody and show them that you are on top of it and not that this is your opinion.
Yeah.
This is what happened. Here it is. It's not personal. What are we going to do about it?
Yeah. You know, and it's amazing. It's always hindsight 2020.
Yes,
Right? It's
absolutely.
so easy to sit here and talk about what you have to do to be successful, and it's so easy to talk about what the keys are. But when it's just like you could tell a 15-year-old kid how easy it is to drive, but as soon as they get the keys at 16 and they get behind the wheel, Lord help us all, right?
Tell me about it.
It's the same thing with a business. You can sit and study it.
Yes.
When you sit at your desk and you're the leader of a small team or a
Yes.
big organization,
Yes.
it is stuff gets thrown at you all day long that you
Yes.
just can't imagine.
Yes.
And you got to deal with it.
And I don't consider us big. We're not small. We're
Yeah.
kind of that in between.
Yeah.
We're definitely growing. We definitely get more proposals for work than we can handle,
Yeah.
particularly now that things are getting back ordered and people are a little bit harder
Yeah.
to hire.
Yeah.
So we will slow down just because of that. It's
Yeah.
not because we can't handle it. It's because we don't have the resources at this
Right.
time at our disposal.
Yeah. And you know, another challenge that we're in right now, if you mentioned the back orders again, every task that a business has open on their organization costs money every day that task is open.
Yes.
Every day you have a truck that needs an alternator.
Yes.
It's on somebody's mind. It's burning up bandwidth within your people, and it's driving costs up. These are the
Absolutely.
things that are driving the costs up.
Absolutely.
You know, when you're building a house and you're stuck, that house is costing money every week the books are open because the project manager can't take on any new projects, and it's a pretty serious situation in our society right now. So
And it requires more micromanaging
absolutely.
to stay on top of it. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's a silly example, but we go order containers, but you can't get the wheels.
Yeah.
So how can you deliver the containers if nobody can push it?
Right.
How do you deliver something if you have no lids?
Right.
It's those little things.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to hear it, but
Yeah.
that is the reality.
Yeah. And it's the reality through all industries right
Yes,
now.
absolutely.
Yeah, I went to my favorite burger shop yesterday for lunch, and the burgers went up $2
Uh-huh.
a piece.
Yes.
In a very short time. Yeah, it's
Yes.
crazy. So Cheryl, so are there any other lessons that you've learned along the way?
Yes, communication.
Yeah.
I have learned a whole new level of communication because I have the opportunity to work with lay people who are doing labor all day long and come from a different mindset.
Yes.
Also from entry level.
Yes.
I'm not talking about across the board, but we have a lot of people who are just getting in the workforce
Right.
and are learning. I also work with accountants, I work with business people, I work with CEOs of companies because we're dealing with, homeowners associations.
Right.
I'm dealing with marketing, the books, on a whole different level. So I see both sides.
Yeah.
And sometimes the miscommunication between what I consider the internal workings of the company versus the external, which are out doing the job,
Right.
is just huge.
Yes.
So much of what I do is translate. Fortunately, I grew up in the sticks in Southern Virginia with 1,500 people, and you cannot be isolated. It's no socioeconomic division. Everybody's together, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And you're not going to like everybody, but you
Right.
do have to get along because you're going to grow up in that
Exactly.
community. And so I have never realized what an asset that was, because I'll sit and listen to accountants explain or HR explain to workers what is going on, and it makes perfect sense, but they have no idea what was said.
Right.
And the business person is talking to the laborer, and they're being very clear, and they have no clue. And somebody who doesn't know doesn't want to say, I don't know, because nobody wants to look stupid.
Yep. Yep.
So
yep.
I'm constantly saying, time out, stop, you can't present it that way.
Yeah.
We have to present it another way.
Right.
Because they're very educated in many ways.
Right.
They're smart. They just don't have the same language.
Right.
And then you throw in English being a second language or a third language.
Yeah.
And then you have a whole nother layer.
Yeah.
And I even find the people that have a real command of the English language, when things get intense, you go back to your roots.
Right.
And what a word means over here in this language doesn't mean the same thing in this language.
Right.
So we're saying the same thing, but we're not walking away with the same perception.
Yeah.
So
No,
I'm
get it.
constantly asking, what did I say?
Yeah.
What did you hear?
Yes.
Because I need it back, because so many times it's so not what I thought was said or the other person thought they said. So that has been incredible to watch over the last 3 years.
I think communication in general is extremely challenging. I think in our little team of, there's 5 of us on our team, maybe 6, depending on how you count. We have miscommunications between our groups, and it is, or between our team members, and it's so easy to have happen, and especially when you work together every day and you think everybody understands everything you say. People get complacent, and you say something and you expect something's going to happen, and then something different happens, and you're, that's not what I said. It is, communication is really, really difficult, and I mention this on the show all the time. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I always say habit number 5 is everything.
Absolutely.
Seek first to understand,
Yes.
and then be understood. So trying to understand
Yes.
what somebody else is communicating to you so you can execute what you need to execute, and then from those lessons learn how to communicate better to the team. So that's great.
Absolutely. And the same is true in the field. Many times you'll have people working in the maintenance for a building that don't speak English, and your drivers and helpers may be only speaking English.
Right.
And all of a sudden there's an altercation because they simply didn't understand each
Yeah.
other. They both misinterpreted what was going on.
Yep.
So it's very common.
Yep. So Cheryl, in closing, you are the second woman to take over a woman-owned company. Lee took over for Loretta, and now you are taking over from Lee. Does that have any impact on you at all?
Yes, it does have an impact. I feel really privileged to be in the position to be able to affect so many lives in such a different way than in mortgages. I'm not just affecting the people on the lot, but most of the people that work in our industry have extended families, have families overseas, and it's so much more far-reaching.
Yeah.
And we work really hard to give people an opportunity. We have a program where we are sponsoring helpers who've been with us and shown that they're responsible and able to get their CDL licenses. It's very hard when you're a new CDL driver to get a job. Nobody wants to give you experience on their time.
Right.
So
It's a
to
lot of
have
risk.
Yes, it is. And
Yeah.
to have a mentor program in place. And not that everybody's going to stay,
Yeah.
but if you can make a difference in somebody's ability to move on, to take care of the family, to do things, it changes the world one piece at a time. And that's really rewarding to see. And not that I can affect everybody, because I can't. But I
Right.
can certainly help the ones that are willing to help themselves.
Yeah.
At least give them an opportunity when they felt like the doors were shut and there was no opportunity.
Right. Fantastic. So in wrapping this up, is there anything that either one of you want to add to this conversation today?
I feel honored and privileged to be able to step in after Loretta and Lee. That, first of all, Lee trusts me and as I move forward with the company, because surely the way we've been doing business, even pre-COVID, is not the way we're going to be doing business in the future.
Right.
Life is changing.
Yes.
But I also feel a certain responsibility as far as the legacy and what Lee and Loretta created as a company, the reputation and the service. It's big shoes to fill,
Right.
particularly in today's challenges.
Yes.
So being able to look at the landscape and where is business in general going, and then where is this industry going? And the
Right.
same is very true with mortgages.
Right.
It has a lot of overlap.
Yes.
So thank you, Lee. I sincerely appreciate the opportunity.
You're very welcome.
It's an amazing story. I'm honored to have you guys here with me today, both of you ladies, and really enjoyed listening to your stories and hearing how you're working together, and Lee, how you took the company and ran it and built it, and now are handing off to Cheryl. So it's an amazing story.
Yeah. And
It's
she's
amazing.
doing very well.
She is. she is. She's an amazing person. I've known Cheryl a long time, and she's going to do very well with this.
Thank you, John.
You're very welcome. All right. Well, that wraps up our conversation today with Lee Gigliotti and Cheryl Freeman. And we thank you for listening. So just like Lee and Cheryl have done, go out there and build something extraordinary.
Thank you.